When's the last time you washed your hands? You look like you've been digging through dumpsters. I washed my hands before I ordered, officer. You nuggets? Yeah? I don't believe you. You're bringing filth into this place just by sitting here. I'm just trying to eat my dinner. I paid for it. I'm not causing any trouble.
You're causing trouble by being here. This isn't a homeless shelter.
I have a right to be here. I'm a paying customer.
Okay, so check this out. This story is insane, man. It's about assumptions, about power trips, and about how things aren't always what they seem. This is the kind of story that makes you realize how easily everything can go sideways based on appearances. So we're in downtown Los Angeles, right? It's like 9 p.m. on a Friday night. There's this 24-hour diner, one of those classic spots where you get cops, night shift workers, homeless people, everybody just trying to get a meal. The fluorescent lights are buzzing, the coffee's been sitting on the burner for 6 hours, you know the vibe. In walks this guy, let's call him Devin. And Devin looks rough, man. I'm talking ripped jeans, dirty hoodie with stains on it, hasn't shaved in probably 2 weeks, baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. He's got this weathered look like he's been sleeping on the streets. He sits down at the counter, orders a burger and fries, and just keeps his head down, minding his own business. Now here's the thing about undercover work that most people don't understand, it's not like the movies. You can't just throw on some ratty clothes and call it a day. Real undercover cops, especially the ones doing deep cover in narcotics, they commit hard. We're talking about not showering for days, sleeping in their cars or actual shelters, getting tattoos that match their cover story, building relationships with actual criminals over months or even years. It's method acting on steroids, except if you screw up, you don't get a bad review, you get killed. Devin had been living this cover for 3 months straight. He'd been eating at this same diner twice a week, always ordering the same thing, always paying with crumpled bills and loose change he'd collected. He knew the waitress's name, Linda, single mom of 2. He knew the cook got off at midnight. He'd established himself as part of the furniture, just another face in the revolving door of society's forgotten people. The thing is, Devin was good at his job. Maybe too good. He'd lost 15 pounds living on the street. His hands had actual dirt under the fingernails, not makeup department dirt, but real grime from sleeping behind buildings and digging through trash to maintain his cover. His beard was patchy and unkempt because homeless people don't have access to good grooming supplies. Every detail was perfect because it had to be. One slip, one thing out of place, and the dealers he was tracking would know something was off. And in that world, suspicion equals death. So there he sits, exhausted from another 16-hour day of maintaining his cover, just wanting to eat his burger in peace before heading back to the abandoned warehouse where he'd been crashing. Just trying to do his job. About 10 minutes later, in walks Officer Matthews. Now, Matthews is one of those cops, you know the type. 28 years old, been on the force for maybe 4 years, still has that rookie edge where he thinks he needs to prove something. Got the tight haircut, the pressed uniform, the whole authoritarian vibe. He's looking around the diner like he owns the place. He spots Devin at the counter, and you can just see his demeanor change. He walks over, stands right behind him, just hovering there. Devin's food arrives, this beautiful greasy burger and a pile of fries, and he's about to take his first bite when Matthews clears his throat real loud. "Excuse me, sir." Devin looks up, sees the uniform, and you can see this flash of something in his eyes. Not fear, more like concern. He puts the burger down. "Yes, officer." Matthews looks him up and down with disgust. "When's the last time you washed your hands? You look like you've been digging through dumpsters." Look, I've talked to a lot of cops on this podcast, and most of them are good people trying to do an impossible job. But there's this subset, and they'll tell you this themselves, there's this subset of young officers who come out of the academy with something to prove. They've got the authority, they've got the badge, and they haven't been humbled by the job yet. They haven't had that moment where they realize that the badge doesn't make you better than anyone, it just gives you different responsibilities. Matthews was that guy. He'd grown up in Orange County, nice neighborhood, good schools, never really struggled. He became a cop because his dad was a cop, and he had this romanticized vision of law enforcement. The thin blue line, protecting society from chaos, all that stuff. Which is fine, those are noble ideals. But he never learned the most important part, compassion. He never learned that most of the people you encounter as a cop aren't evil, they're struggling. They're addicted, they're mentally ill, they're economically devastated, they're veterans with PTSD. They're human beings who deserve dignity, even if they're at rock bottom. But Matthews didn't see that. He saw order and disorder. Clean and dirty. Upstanding citizens and, whatever Devon appeared to be. And in his mind, someone like Devon didn't belong in a public establishment. He was bringing down the property values just by existing. It's that same mentality that's gotten cops in trouble for decades, the idea that you can judge someone's worth by their appearance, by their zip code, by the color of their skin. And Devon knew it. The second Matthews opened his mouth, Devon knew exactly what kind of cop he was dealing with. He'd seen it 100 times. But he couldn't break cover. He couldn't flash his badge and shut it down. Not with potential informants possibly watching. So he had to play the role. Devon stays calm. I washed my hands in the restroom before I ordered, officer. But Matthews isn't having it. Yeah. I don't believe you. You're bringing filth into this establishment, making people uncomfortable. Look at you, you're disgusting. The whole diner goes quiet. Everyone's watching now. The waitress behind the counter looks nervous, other customers are pretending not to stare but totally staring. Devon tries to de-escalate, sir, I'm just trying to eat my dinner. I paid for it, I'm not causing any trouble. You're causing trouble by being here, Matthews interrupts. This isn't a homeless shelter. Take your food and get out. Devon's jaw tightens, but he stays controlled. I have a right to be here. I'm a paying customer. And this is where Matthews goes too far, man. He reaches over, grabs Devon's plate, and dumps the entire thing, burger, fries, everything, right into the trash can behind the counter. Just throws it away like it's garbage. There. Now you got nothing to stay for. Get out. Now think about what just happened. Matthews didn't just throw away food, he threw away a human being's dignity. In front of a room full of witnesses, he declared that this person was less than human. That his money wasn't good enough. That his presence was contaminating. It's the kind of casual cruelty that happens every single day in this country, usually without witnesses, usually without consequences. And here's what makes it even worse, Devon couldn't react the way he wanted to. Inside, he's a decorated detective with 12 years on the force. He's got commendations for bravery, he's taken down major drug operations, he's testified in federal court. He's forgotten more about law enforcement than Matthews has learned. But in this moment, he has to play the role of a powerless homeless man being humiliated by a cop, because that's his cover. That's his job. You can see it in his body language, the way his fists clench under the counter, the way his breathing changes, the slight tremor of barely contained rage. Linda the waitress sees it too. She's got tears in her eyes because she's served Devon for weeks, and he's always been polite, always said please and thank you, always left whatever small tip he could manage. She knows this is wrong, but what can she do? Challenge a cop and maybe lose her job. Maybe get arrested herself for interfering. That's the power dynamic at play here. Matthews has all the power in this situation, or so he thinks. He's got the badge, the gun, the legal authority. Devon has nothing but his cover story and his integrity. And Matthews is banking on the idea that nobody's going to stand up for some dirty homeless guy. But he's about to learn a very expensive lesson. The diner is dead silent. Devon stands up slowly, and for the first time, Matthews seems to register that something's off. Devon's posture has changed, he's not slouching anymore, not avoiding eye contact. He reaches into his jacket pocket. Matthews's hand immediately goes to his weapon. Keep your hands where I can see them. Devon pulls out a badge. Not a regular badge, a detective's shield. LAPD Narcotics Division. Detective Devon Carter, deep undercover. I've been working this neighborhood for 3 months on a major drug trafficking operation. And you just blew my cover by making a scene. Matthews's face goes white. Like, sheet white. You can see the blood drain right out of him. Devon continues, his voice low and controlled, I've been cultivating relationships with people on this street for weeks. Street dealers, users, informants, they all think I'm homeless. They trust me. And you just announced to everyone in this diner that I'm interesting enough for a cop to harass. You think word won't spread? Now here's the thing about undercover operations that makes this so devastating, they're built on trust and invisibility. Devon wasn't pretending to be homeless, in every way that mattered, he was homeless for the past 3 months. He'd been sleeping in the same spots, eating at the same places, building relationships with the same people. He'd probably spent hundreds of hours getting close to his targets, earning their trust, proving he was just another forgotten soul on the street. And Matthews just nuked all of that in 30 seconds. Because now the story's going to spread, yo, you hear about that homeless dude at the diner? Cop came in and made a whole scene about him. Threw his food away and everything. That's weird, right? Why would a cop care so much about some random homeless guy? That's the kind of story that travels fast in street communities. People start asking questions. They start looking closer. And once they start looking, they see things. They notice things. And Devon becomes a liability instead of an asset. But beyond the operational damage, there's something else happening in this moment. Matthews is experiencing what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort of having two contradictory beliefs at the same time. His brain is trying to reconcile the image of the dirty homeless guy with the reality of decorated police detective, and it's short-circuiting. Every assumption he made, every judgment he passed, every ounce of contempt he displayed, it's all being reflected back at him like a mirror. And he's realizing that he didn't just make a mistake. He committed what could be a career-ending screw-up. He compromised an active investigation. He potentially endangered an officer's life. He humiliated a superior officer in public. And worst of all, he did it all because he couldn't see past his own prejudices. Matthews is stammering now, I didn't know. I was just. You were just what? Making assumptions. Deciding that someone who looks dirty doesn't deserve basic respect. Doesn't deserve to eat a meal in peace. The manager comes over, apologizing profusely to Devon, offering to remake his food. Devon waves him off. Don't worry about it. I'm done here anyway. He turns back to Matthews, you're going to file a report about this incident. Full disclosure. And tomorrow morning, you're going to meet with my captain and your supervisor to explain why you compromised an active undercover operation. Understood? Matthews can barely speak, yes, sir. Devon walks out, leaving Matthews standing there, humiliated in front of the entire diner. Here's the lesson, man, you never know who someone is based on how they look. That homeless guy could be a cop. That janitor could be a genius. Stop judging people by appearances and start treating everyone with basic human dignity. But let's go deeper than that, because this story isn't just about mistaken identity. It's about the fundamental failure to recognize humanity. Even if Devon had been an actual homeless person with no badge, with no secret identity, with no dramatic reveal, he still deserved to eat his dinner in peace. He still deserved basic dignity. The badge doesn't make him worthy of respect, being human makes him worthy of respect. This is what we've lost in society, man. We've created these hierarchies where some people matter and some people don't. Where a person's worth is determined by their job, their income, their appearance, their address. And we've given certain people, cops, security guards, business owners, the power to enforce these hierarchies. To decide who belongs and who doesn't. To determine who gets dignity and who gets degradation. And the crazy thing is, Matthews probably went into law enforcement with good intentions. He probably genuinely wanted to help people, to make society better. But somewhere along the way, he bought into this us versus them mentality. The clean versus the dirty. The productive versus the parasites. And once you start thinking that way, it becomes easy to justify all kinds of cruelty. The real question is, what happened after this? Did Matthews learn from this humiliation? Did he become a better cop, more empathetic, more aware of his own biases? Or did he just become more resentful, more careful about who he harassed, but not actually changed in any meaningful way? That's the thing about these wake-up calls, they only work if you're willing to actually wake up. Some people just hit the snooze button and go back to their same patterns. But hopefully, just hopefully, Matthews saw something in Devon's eyes that night. Something that said, I'm not your enemy. The people you're supposed to serve aren't your enemy. Start acting like it. That's real. That's the world we need to live in.